It is 7:01. I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting in town of Batesburg-Leesville, August the 10th, 7:01 p.m. at the beautiful town hall complex in Batesburg-Leesville. At this time, I'd like to ask Pastor Kent Suits if you would come up and lead us in an invocation, please.
Thank you. I'm going to use Psalm 93 to guide my prayer this evening for all of us. The Lord reigns. He is robed in majesty. The Lord is robed. He has put on strength as his belt. Yes, the world is established. It shall never be moved. Your throne is established from of old. You are from everlasting. The floods have lifted up, O Lord. The floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their roaring. Mightier than the thunders of many waters, mightier than the waves of the sea, the Lord on high is mighty. Your decrees are very trustworthy. Holiness befits your house, O Lord, forevermore. Father, we praise you. Lord, we acknowledge that you are in your glory right now, looking down and watching on this meeting, and all of these things that are coming before our town today are under your rule and your reign, because you are sitting on your throne and you are mighty above all of us, above every man and woman that is here tonight. You rule over all of us. And so I pray that your name would be great in this place and in this town, and that you would lead and guide our leaders with wisdom and strength as they lead your people. And we ask all these in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. And stand for the pledge. Mr. Gambrell, if you would lead us, please.
Thanks, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, sir. Item 4, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Price, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Wise. Any discussion? District 1.
District 1, yes.
District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 6.
Yes.
District 7.
Yes.
District 8.
Yes.
And I vote yes. The agenda has been approved. Moving on to item 5, adoption of the minutes from the regular council meeting, July 13th, 2020. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Mr. Prowse, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Etheridge. Any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The meeting minutes from the regular council meeting July 13th have been adopted. Moving on to item 6. Next regular council meeting will be September the 14th. Council committees report, Central Midlands Council Member Bob Hall. Do you have a report, sir?
Central Midlands did not meet. We have a meeting scheduled this month, end of August.
Thank you, sir. Environmental Planning Advisory Committee, Councilmember Price.
EPAC also did not meet in the month of July.
Thank you, sir. The Comment Advisory Committee, Councilmember Steve King.
So Ted, I'm very unhappy with you right now. Because I know you met with John many, many times, and they meet quite often. Sometimes late at night, emails come, so we'll deal with you appropriately. But so the board table discussion to amend the intergovernmental agreement to get additional information from General Counsel. A special meeting was held to discuss the new contractor for the ARTP. A new chairman, a new vice chairman, secretary, and treasurer were elected. The committee meetings are on Wednesdays for finance and service in the modules, and the next board meeting is August 26th. So they're very hard working, actually a working board. So thank y'all for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. And joint municipal water sewer did not meet. Next meeting will be, not this week, but next week. Item C, BL Chamber of Commerce update. Mike Taylor, President of the Chamber.
Thank you, Mayor, and members of council. The other day I was in my automobile and heard the president of West Virginia talking, and he referred to the COVID-19 and said that when it started, he called it the hammer and the dance, and that when it came, the hammer hit down and everything was closed, and now we were in the dance trying to figure out how to dance around COVID. That's what the chamber's doing right now. We are open back up as far as our general membership meetings and things of that nature, and our board meetings, so we had to get back to some semblance of normalcy. During our July Chamber General Membership meeting, we recognized and congratulated Hitachi on Governor McMaster's proclamation declaring Thursday, July 16th as Hitachi Day in South Carolina. On that day, Hitachi was celebrating their 110th anniversary. Roger Williamson came to our meeting, and those in attendance had an overview of Hitachi and our plant Batesburg-Leesville. In the past, we have alternated our meetings between the breakfast meeting, the luncheon meeting, and now through the end of the year, we're just having strictly a breakfast meeting so we can spread out and everybody feels safe. In a letter organized by South Carolina Chamber of Commerce sent Tuesday, August the 4th, to the members of South Carolina Federal Legislative Delegation, the Batesburg-Leesville Chamber, and nearly 250 businesses, healthcare providers, and educational institutions call for our delegation to support S 4317, the Safe to Work Act. This legislation provides a temporary and targeted safe harbor from lawsuits for businesses who are acting in good faith to keep their employees and customers safe. I'm going to give you just a little bit of information that we received at our board meeting from the county. It'll be brief, but I want to kind of go over, some of you may know this, the COVID numbers for our area 29054, 29006, and 29070. Back in May, we were April and May, we were averaging, it's 4-day rollover, we were averaging 10 to 12 people. It's a 4-day rollover. And then at the end of May, around it jumped up to, I'm sorry, in June, it jumped up to 38. Well, in July, that 4-day rollover was fluctuating from 150 to 160. As of this past Thursday, it's back down to like 76, so it's definitely going in the right direction. Building permits in Lexington County for June was 777, and Richland County was 407. So we almost each month come close to doubling their building permits in Lexington County versus Richland County. The unemployment rate in South Carolina dropped from 12.4 in May to 8.7 in June. In May, the unemployment in Lexington County was 8.2, dropping to 6.5 in June. In March, before COVID-19, unemployment in Lexington County was 2.4. So all these things, we kind of head in the right direction. Let's just hope they continue to do so. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Mike. Ms. Judy, any public comments this evening? Since we have none and we have no unfinished business, let's move on to new business. Item A, which is a resolution supporting and honoring the first responders, educators, healthcare workers, and military members and their families of Batesburg-Leesville. Resolution, whereas the town of Batesburg-Leesville strives to promote and meet the needs of business and industry and to create the best community in which to live, work, and do business, and whereas the events surrounding the coronavirus 2019 and civil unrest in our country have been placed insurmountable challenges on those who protect, serve, educate, and heal members of our community and businesses, whereas the town of Batesburg-Leesville recognizes the importance of partnerships which exist between our community and the first responders, educators, healthcare workers, and members of our military, and the role each plays in the success of the communities and businesses they serve. And whereas in emergency situations throughout the community, the public safety employees, commonly called first responders, carry out the critical role of protecting and ensuring public safety. Whereas the Municipal Communications 911, Law Enforcement, and Fire Service act as a combined team in conjunction with partners from other agencies to rescue people from dangerous circumstances, secure dangers, treat the injured, and protect the lives and safety of people regardless of the peril or hazard to themselves. And whereas the teachers, administrators, and support staff of Lexington County School Districts, Midlands Technical College, and other educational institutions have been committed and creative in the continuance of providing an education of our children during this time when in-person instruction was no longer an option in distance learning, and all of the related support required became necessary without notice or time for preparation. And whereas the healthcare workers across Lexington County not only continue to provide their normal exceptional care for our residents, but willingly place themselves in a high-risk environment to provide care for those suffering from coronavirus 2019, extending their work hours and meeting the many challenges created. Whereas all members of all branches of the military, active duty, reserve, and National Guard have provided invaluable assistance and logistical support to our community in recent months related to the coronavirus 2019 challenges. These men and women always stand ready in times of trouble to respond and aid our community and businesses. Next page here. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Town Council of Batesburg, the Town of Batesburg-Leesville, that the Mayor and Town Council for itself and the residents and businesses comprised therein gratefully and completely support our first responders, educators, healthcare workers, military members, and their families. Be it further resolved that the Mayor and Town Council encourages all residents of the community to express their gratitude to our first responders, educators, healthcare workers, military members, and their families with their own acts and expressions of kindness and appreciation for their efforts and sacrifices during these challenging times. Excuse me. Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Mr. Gambrill, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Wise. Any discussion? District 1?
District 1 votes yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
District 3 votes yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yeah.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The resolution has been adopted. Thank you. Item B, in new business, we have a resolution renewing intergovernmental cooperative agreement between the town and county of Lexington for the Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment, and Emergency Solutions Grant programs. Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Mr. Gambrell, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Prowse, any discussion? District 1?
District 1 votes yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
District 3 votes yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yeah.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The resolution has been adopted. Moving on to item C of new business, first reading ordinance to amend the animal control ordinance to reflect changes made by Lexington County. As presented in our packet, reading this through, let's see. I will, I'll call for a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Mr. Prowse, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gambrell, any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3? District 3?
No.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The first reading, the ordinance to amend the animal control ordinance to reflect changes made by Lexington County has been adopted. It's the first reading. Thank you. Moving on to item D, in new business, approval of engineering firm to provide professional services relating to updating the town's fats, oils, and grease program and ordinances. As presented in our packet, but I'll have Mr. Luckadoo, town manager, if you would address it. For
I'm gonna ask Mr. Shumpert if he would please come up.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Shump, you have the floor.
I think the proposal that was included in your packet was to prepare a bog program with bad soils and grease to give us an opportunity as a town to be able to have some jurisdiction and guidance as to what goes in our sewer system, what we ultimately end up having to treat. But we have had some issues with things being put in our sewer system. We have no control over how we can, at least inspect or modify or require interceptors and food services and such. We need to educate our public as to what can and should or should not be put in the sewer systems. It would definitely enhance our system. I know you're all aware that we have some I&I issues because y'all see the issues that we concurred with DHEC across our collection system. This is the first step to help us kind of reel some of that back in. Some of the engineering gave us some proposals. We had an estimate, I think, of $12,000 to $15,000 to do that work when we were asking for funding during the budget cycle. And some of the engineering has provided us a proposal. I have reviewed their guidance document along with their proposal, and I think that pretty much coincides with what we need to develop and generate our program, and then we'll have to modify our ordinance to make sure it's in our ordinance so it's something we can enforce.
I have a question.
Mr. King?
So is that absolutely necessary to do this year?
I think so, because under our consent order with DHEC, that was one of our responses to them, that we would try to do something to help control our tax force bridges, so we have had some overflow issues.
Yeah, but this is something that can be done in the next budget cycle, right? It'll have to be done.
I really think since our response to DHEC was that we would include the batch form in which program, I think we ought to pursue it this year.
Yeah, I mean, you think you ought to pursue it, but my question is, do we have to pursue it? And have we talked to DHEC about putting some of these projects, well, at least putting this project on the back burner?
Mr. Mayor.
On the circumstances.
That's up to council's pleasure. I mean, if you want to.
I just want to make sure that it was clear that there's not absolutely a necessary expenditure at this time.
I won't know until I have to update my response and I create a master plan to DHEC.
Okay.
Can't answer that.
Mr. Hall, you have the floor.
Yes, clarification for my thought. It's my understanding that council has previously approved the budget, which included $15,000 for this project. So therefore, what's before us, my understanding, is a request to expend a portion of those funds. Now, my concern, of course, obviously, is that the widespread between the low bid and the high bid, and the possibility of escalation of those charges based on attachment A for the hourly schedule. How confident are you that there will be no additional charges? You're asking to spend $2,500. Are we going to spend $2,500 or are we going to spend $15,000?
I have asked the same question to Summit Engineering for that proposal, and based on his proposal and the guidance documents that I read, it looks like it's there. So if we don't offer any scope creep, then I think what we're getting for $2,500 is going to be our plan.
Okay, so if that does not meet the plan and you ask him for for expansion of that scope, I see we're subject to $155 an hour. So really what the council will be approving is the expenditure of $2,500.
That's correct.
Even though there is additional
modifications
funds.
to that scope would probably be presented to council before it happens.
Mr. Luckadoo, will you be coming back to the council if it exceeds that amount?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Prowse, first, Mr. Hall, the second. Any other discussion?
I have a
Yep.
question.
Ms. Shirley, you have it.
Okay, so exactly what are you supposed to do there? What are you gonna do?
What am I going to do?
Whoever's gonna do it, what are they gonna do?
They're going to put together a plan. It's going to go to our sewer use ordinance. We're going to develop a plan to educate our public, as far as what we can put in the sewer. We're going to develop a program where we register all the grease interceptors in town with all the food ordinances. It'll give us an opportunity, either through our code enforcement officer or someone dedicated on a wastewater plant, or our maybe possible fire chief who does inspections, to be able to go into these establishments and inspect these grease receptors on a regular basis, make sure that the maintenance is taken care of, so we can reduce all the bad souls and greases that are being dumped in our
So
system.
exactly what's the 2,500 for? What's the
$2,500 is to prepare that plan, so that we can amend our ordinance to include that plan as being enforceable for us.
So
There'll probably be some
So the
registration.
25 is, so the 2,500 is just to prepare the plan.
That's correct.
It's not to do anything else.
Well, I mean, they will provide us some information for public awareness, and we'll have all the forms we need to get in, and then there'll be a grace probably to implement this thing over time, so that we can kind of bring it on board with it. So, you know, there'll be some people you'll have to have time to comply.
Any other discussion? Thank you, Mr. Trumpet.
Thank you.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
District 3 votes no.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
I don't like them spending 2,500 just to invent a plan.
What's your vote, ma'am?
Don't get smart, I'll give you my vote.
I'm not, ma'am, I'm just asking.
You're gonna do it anyway, go ahead.
Is it a yes or no, ma'am?
Yeah.
Thank you. District 6? Yes. District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion passed. Approval of contract between the town of Lexington School District 3 relating to the school resource officers for the school year 2020, 2021. Do I have a, this was included in your packet. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Prowse, do I have a second? Second. Second, Mr. Wise. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Mr. Hall, you have the floor.
Yes, I believe that this is identical to the contract that we approved, this council previously approved, previous council previously approved. The question I have is in the fact that it's a legal question, there's no anniversary date on this contract, and it is really a continuing contract. Under section 5, on page 5, ownership of equipment specifies responsibilities for reimbursement to the school district in the event that this contract is terminated any time during a 5-year period. Now, when does that 5-year period start? Because the first year we're obligated, should it be terminated, to 50% of the cost of the equipment, and it declines each year thereafter. So as of this date, if we sign this contract, what will Section 5 obligate us to?
Yeah, just hang on one second. Mr. Hall, we'll get an answer from Mr. Nick. Which page was that on, Mr. Hall? You said 7.
Page 5, line items, Section 5, ownership of equipment. And the question concerns an anniversary date of the agreement, since it is apparently a continuing agreement. So therefore, at my estimation, we are probably in year 3. But I believe the contract should clearly express an anniversary date.
It's my understanding it's not appropriate for council to give legal advice during an open session.
Will we go into executive session?
It's my understanding executive session is for legal advice, but it's my understanding that this contract does not add anything new. It is an already approved contract from the previous year, and nothing has changed in the contract.
But it's still legal advice though, right?
Sir, are you telling me the council has no choice in this contract? Is that your opinion, legal or otherwise?
No, they have a choice in the contract.
So we can just turn the contract down unless it's rewritten?
I mean, it's up for a vote. You can approve it through vote and motion, or you don't have to approve it through vote and motion.
Okay, I want to clarify, I am all in favor of SROs, but I'm also trying to protect our community and liability.
Councilman, my understanding of what Section 5 is saying, I understand what you're saying, but if we purchased a patrol car this year, it would be a 50-50 split in the cost of that patrol vehicle based on this contract. at the end of if we decided to part ways on this contract at the end of the first year, which will be the time in which we purchased the vehicle, we would owe the school district 50% of the money for that vehicle back. In the years after that, I understand what you're saying, if it gets renewed every year, does that first year start over? I believe it's from the time of the purchase of the equipment for that year.
What is the problem with inserting an anniversary date, which says that the anniversary of this contract is the date the first contract we signed? And I'm reading, should this agreement be terminated for any reason within the first year of the agreement, the town of Batesburg-Leesville will reimburse the school district 50% of the value of the patrol vehicles, plural. And that would have been purchased for the use of the SROs. So
That would be
covers-
within the
that
first
covers
year of
all
the time of
four.
purchase. That time of purchase does not renew at the beginning of each year. It would be the first year from the time of the purchase of the vehicles. It doesn't become the first year again next year if we approve the agreement. We would be going into the second year of that vehicle.
Any other discussion? District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
District 3 votes no.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
No.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
District 8 votes yes.
and I vote yes, the contract has been approved. Moving on to manager's report. Mr. Luckady.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
I think the battery's getting low, so I'll just talk really loud. All right, electronic recycling event. At this time, we reported a few months ago that we had scheduled an electronic recycling event for August. It seemed like it was gonna be a very long time to get here, but here we are in August. Lake County Solid Waste, at this point, still intends to have their electronic recycling event on August 29th here in town from 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock p.m. at the Batesburg-Leesville High School in the main parking lot. This partnership is between certainly the town, the county, Advanced Disposal, Keep America Beautiful, and this year Mission Lexington has joined in. Accepted at this event will be up to 8 large electronic items, up to 8 tires. They will not accept tractor tires. And they will accept up to 5 boxes or bags of paper for shredding per household. Where Mission Lexington has come in is they now will accept clothes, bedding, furniture, books, shoes, and shelf-stable foods at this event, if people have it. So that's an expansion from events that we've had in the past by adding that. Just as a reminder, because this is a Lexington County Solid Waste event, this is for Lexington County residents. And the materials generated from businesses, along with appliances that include Freon, will not be accepted at this event. Moving on to Census 2020, the census has announced that door-to-door data collection will begin on August 11th, 2020, tomorrow. They will begin door-to-door in the state of South Carolina. They have also announced that the census collection will end on September 30th of this year. They had talked about October, they have now said end of September. As of August 6th, statistically and nationally, we're at 63.2%, which is up from 62 last month. State of South Carolina is at 63.2%, that of the national response, which is up from 56.4, and it's 44th out of 52 states. Lexington County is at 64.8. They're up 1% from last month, and Lexington County is 4th out of 46 counties. Saluda County is at 46.6%, which is up from 46. They're 38th out of 46 counties in response. And the town is at 56.7, which is almost 1% from where we were, 1.2% from where we were last month, and we are 67th out of 271 cities or towns. Just as a reminder, 68% was our response in 2010. So we still have about 11.3% to go to meet what we did in 2010. Moving on, we've heard a lot about CARES Act through COVID-19. Part of the allocation and funding that they have done, some of it is going back towards cities and towns and reimbursement of the costs that we've incurred. We are working through the CARES Act funding that has been made available, and we have identified the costs so far that we have had related to COVID-19. This funding can, and I will reiterate, can. There's no guarantee in the reimbursement. We're certainly going to go after it, though. Can reimburse us for wages related to quarantining employees, supply costs, administrative costs, and any costs related to remote working. There is another wave of funding that will allow us to purchase some additional equipment, safety supplies, and other things like that. We are working on receiving as much as possible for those qualified expenses that we can identify. Moving on, one of the annual action items for this year was some facility repairs and improvements. This past week, the train depot, which we budgeted for 2 new HVAC gas pack units, those units were installed this past week. We have got an RFP currently issued on the South Carolina Business Opportunity website as well as the town website for a new roof on Building A of the Town Hall, which is much needed due to leaks. Those bids will be accepted until August 28th, and we intend to bring that to council in September for approval. We hope to have the contractor for the PD roof ready to go by next month to try and have the new coating placed on prior to the beginning of our rainy season, which I'm sure if we go to PD today, there's probably plenty of rain coming through the roof today after that rain we just had. Chief Fry has been working and meeting with electrical contractors at Station 26, where we had previously mentioned the electrical issues that were identified. So far, one approach has stuck out to him as the best route to moving forward. This contractor stated he could possibly save money by tracing all the lines in the station. Right now, the electrical panel boxes are not what you'd say completely marked, and not everything is completely identified on where it's running in the station. But due to LED lighting that's been installed since that addition was put on, that's certainly less power. I think there were 3 breakers operating the lights in the bay.
They started tracing today. So
they started tracing today. There were 3 breakers for the lights in the bay, but now they're LED. That can be taken down to 1 breaker at this point, which opens up breaker space. So we may not have to add a new panel box with all the phasing work that I just simply don't understand, to be honest. Electricity is not my thing. But he believes he could save us money on that project by identifying first. They've ordered everything to rerun the airlines for the air brakes on the fire trucks. Hopefully that work will begin here soon. Moving on, we have a number of roadway and sidewalk improvements coming up in town that I just want to highlight. First off, Highway 23 resurfacing. We've talked about this. Hopefully this will commence within the next few months. And this will take place along Highway 23 from the split at Highway 1 to the county line. That, along with Highway 1, which I'll touch in a minute, have been delayed as a lot of the contractors due to COVID-19 kind of had to shut down for a period of time with their workers. Our C-Fund sidewalk project, the sidewalks, the primary sections of 5 sidewalks have been completed along Peachtree Street and along Charleston Avenue. We still have about roughly $5,000 left. He should be back in town in the next couple of weeks to identify how far we can take that $5,000 with existing broken sidewalks in town. DOT has finalized and stamped the final set of plans for Highway 23 sidewalk that will be from North Lee Street to the Walmart entrance. They should be bidding this project here in the near future, and I would look for this work to begin sometime by the end of this year and the first part of 2021. And then the Highway 1 widening project, which has been awarded to C.R. Jackson. Hopefully they can have a plant built quick enough to be able to provide the asphalt from our industrial park for the Highway 1 widening project. I'm sure that would save them money as well if that could be done. They should be mobilizing into the area within the next couple months to begin the widening project. Our understanding is that they will begin up near West Hampton where the 4-lane ends, and they will work their way towards the town limits. At the wastewater treatment plant, I have been updating over the past couple of weeks about converting our CDBG liquid lime chemical feed system over to floating aeration project due to a recent DHEC inspection and the fact that Basin 1 was down completely and is now partially down, as half of it is working and half of it is not. We did have the amended an amended subrecipient agreement that follows the redirecting of the funds for that, and we do hope to RFP this project out. DHEC has been working to quickly evaluate and approve any and all plans with regards to floating aeration to try and expedite that project, as they really want to see this project done as soon as possible. Staying at the wastewater treatment plant, we reported about the Rotary Press and Headworks Grant Project, which is an RIA grant of $800,000. The update on that is that we've talked with RIA to see if we could bid the floating aeration job at the same time as the Rotary Press and Headworks project, so that we can try and expand that scope of duties, and maybe one contractor would want to bid on both jobs. We do have to bid them as separate jobs because one is RIA grant funded, one is CDG. So we have to maintain that separation in projects and bids. But if we can bid them at the same time, that may afford us the opportunity to save money by having contractors bid on both jobs at the same time. The Brody Mill Pump Station, I am proud to say that that pump station is showing tremendous improvement from where we've been in the past. I think at the lowest point this year, we may have been at 6 inches low in the pond with these new pumps installed. It's certainly a blessing. We haven't really had to rely on heavy rainstorms and a lot of storm water to keep our pond topped off and to fill it back up. These pumps have worked remarkably. The contractor is not done yet. He's waiting on a couple more meters and parts to come in to go back out and finish this job. Once he gets those, it is estimated 1 to 2 weeks would be his time on site to get this job done. We are awaiting, we have received $16,081 back at this point from CDBG in reimbursement, and we are awaiting a $96,000 reimbursement from Lexington County, which should be in within the next week or so. And the North Lee Street and Livingston Lane Sewer Project, both projects have been completed. We have received the final invoice for this project, and we should be able to take it off the list of active projects once we get that paid. Moving on to the financial and budget update. Ending this month in the general fund checking, We have about $1,773,743. Our police donations was at about $4,655. Our fire department 1%, $14,740. Our municipal court ended the month at $32,584, and victims assistance at $714, making the total of non-utility funds at $1,826,437. Our utility fund checking ended the month at $92,722.75. Our utility reserve at $767,683.46. Our capital improvement project and impact fee at $1,483,730.95. That $96,000 I just referenced in reimbursement will be put back into that capital improvement project and impact fee account. USDA debt service reserve at $564,700.97. And here we hold strong with our USDA depreciation at $3 and our senior assistance ended the month at a whopping $2. Bringing our total of all utility funds to $2,908,843.13. And our hospitality tax checking ended the month at $731,740.64. And all funds total for the town is at $5,467,020.99. You will notice the monthly account balances. I'm not going to go through each of these. For July, dating back end of the month for each July, dating back to 2014. I just gave you that to look at. Our general fund, being the first month of this budget year, our operating revenues came in at 14% for the first month, and our operating expenses came in at 7%. I will remind council that our general fund is going to flip-flop. We pretty much are at a point now from August until December that we receive very little revenue into the general fund. We will certainly see the expenses skyrocket as compared to the revenues. But beginning in January, those revenues will begin coming back in. The utility fund, we brought in 8% of our operating revenues in the first month and 7% in operating expenses. Victims Assistance Fund came in at 10% of our budget revenues and 8% of our operating expenses. And the Hospitality Tax Fund came in at 10% of operating revenues and 1% of operating expenses in the first month. Any questions?
If I may,
Mr. Hall, you have the floor.
under the capital improvement bank account, we have $1.4 million, which is an impressive number. However, do you have an estimate of how much of that is already obligated, particularly under the 2 ongoing projects that we have?
Until some of those projects bid, I wouldn't know that exact.
But we're talking, if we're getting an $800,000 grant, our part of it would be $100,000, $200,000.
Could potentially be that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
So,
And again, until the project bids, I just simply don't know how much of this would be earmarked from
Okay.
the project. That or the floating iteration.
all right. And in the check register, I noticed we had an opportunity at the primary school. We paid for an emergency repair, some $2,500. Is that due to the construction project that's ongoing there? Is that a recoverable expense?
I am not familiar with that one off the top of my head. I can check into that and get you.
I'd like to see us be a little more aggressive about recovering expenses that are due to other people, not the town's actual responsibility.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
But I'll get back to you on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Luckadoo. Moving on to item 12, possible actions by council and follow-up to item 13, potential agenda items for next month's meeting, September the 14th. Do I have a motion for any items to be added? Mr. Kane?
I may have. Ted, what's going on with the sign? Are you working on that?
Yeah.
Was that something that needs to be? Calm down.
I can call you tomorrow about that.
Okay.
If
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Anyone else? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Kraus, do I have a second? Second, Ms. Etheridge, any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yep.
District 6? Yes. District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes, we are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming.